I'm not taking the under. I always go over. I'm going to say they win 8 games. I don't buy, Ken. I don't buy the Jaguars. I don't buy CJ
No.
Stroud. I do buy Tennessee. Tennessee is my surprise team, and truthfully, Justin Fields is my breakout Jalen Hurts type player.
Justin Fields?
Justin Fields.
Here's what I heard
Give it to
from a very well-respected football guy in Chicago who was in Westfield for camp last 2 days. Said Fields is a fraud.
Oh.
He is not going to be that guy. Chicago media is building him up beyond all reason. He is inaccurate and he is indecisive, and so he is not going to be the guy. That's what he said.
I don't disagree.
He hasn't written it. He's told it to me in a conversation, so I can't tell you who it is.
I don't disagree and I don't agree.
Yeah.
I'm neither. I'm like, all right, you were a great quarterback. You got beat out by Jake Fromm. You went to Ohio State. You played wonderful, particularly in a big game. I'm all in because the NFL is going that way. You can make the correlation, can't you? To Justin Fields being blown up by the media and to our guy here being blown up by the media?
Let me blow it up further. If I had a choice between Anthony Richardson and Justin Fields right now, I'd take Anthony Richardson every single day and twice on Sunday.
Why?
Every single time. Why? Because he's a better mover. I think he's more decisive, and I think he's more accurate. He is a guy, and he processes. He's learning. You can see it almost practice to practice. He gets better. So,
wow.
I love Anthony Richardson.
Do?
I do. And talking to Rick Venturi, Rick said, I was real high on him coming out of the draft. I never go to camp and feel better about a guy after I watch him for a week at camp. I feel better about Anthony Richardson right now than I did when he was drafted.
I'm in on it. Harpoon asked, would the Bears trade Fields for Richardson? I'm not talking about the Bears media or the Colts media. I'm talking about would the Bears.
Ooh. Well, they wouldn't because they're a poorly run operation.
Right.
You know, I mean, they haven't had a reasonably good starting quarterback in 70 plus years.
Yeah.
Not because they're great at picking quarterbacks. So no, they wouldn't.
It'd be another mistake.
Yeah,
by
absolutely. That's all they can do. I had another Chicago media guy say, it's been so long since we've had a decent quarterback, I don't know how to evaluate one. I don't know whether Fields is any good because we never have had a good one.
All right, so we started this campaign back in May. Optimism.
Yeah.
Camp is over. I mean, they're still, you know what I mean. They did. It's 3 weeks. We're going to start playing games. We play a game tomorrow night. We play a game Saturday night against the Bears. I know it's an exhibition game. Are we still optimistic? I'm throwing it back to you. I said 8. What do you say?
I'm saying 7.
Are you?
But with a 2-game wobble. Somewhere between 5 and 9, 7 is my sweet spot.
Yeah. Problem you have there is people watch shows like this to evaluate their gambling. They want to watch shows and go, well, so you're saying between 5 and 9, that doesn't help a gambler because the number is 6.5.
Right.
But I'm with you on that. All right, let me go this route with you. Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
All right. How much does Jonathan Taylor playing impact that number?
2 games.
2 games.
2 games. He's a big difference. The difference between him, and I'm not talking about Zach Moss. Zach Moss might be okay. But the difference between him and Deion Jackson is 2 games. You got a guy who can run for 1,800 yards, and you got a guy who maybe can run for 800. That's that's 1,000 yards.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm no math major. And we went to the same high school or college, excuse me, and we do come up with the same number. And that is 1,000. Yeah, you know, the thing people talk about, you know, they talk about the value of a running back. The value of a running back for the Colts is different than the value of a running back for maybe Kansas City. The value of a running back for AR-15 or whatever the hell his name is different than the value of a running back for Patrick Mahomes. I think we all get that. But let me go to Jonathan Taylor. I've said this forever on radio, and there's always a backstory.
Right.
Jonathan Taylor went from, if you remember last year, it started a story. This guy hasn't missed a practice since junior high.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's hurt, you missed practice, fine. But now all of a sudden, he's missing for a personal problem.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning went out of state to get his knee or neck or whatever the hell it is done. Andrew Luck went out of state. They didn't trust the Colts. Whatever the deal is with that, the backstory of that. It didn't end up well for the Colts with either. They cut Manning and they Luck quit. I feel like there's a lot here with Jonathan Taylor, and I feel that Jonathan Taylor is sulking, whining, and holding out like worse than what Kenny Moore did last year. Kenny Moore was there. You knew he was going to play. I don't know that Jonathan Taylor's going to play.
I believed what the team has told us the last 2 times at least. Like, I just believe what I'm told generally until I figure out that it's wrong. So, I mean, they say it's a personal issue, that it's excused. I think that's just like spritz water on the fire. They did something that they don't generally do that I think kind of tells a bit of the story. And when they put out the statement that said that Jonathan Taylor was going to be, he was gone, the absence was excused. Nobody's name was behind it. Nobody wanted to say it out loud. Steichen wouldn't talk about it. Media relations wouldn't have it come out of their mouths. Nobody is behind it.
That's what I'm saying.
And so I don't buy it. And I feel bad about that because I try to believe. I try to be one of those, like, well, they told me so, and so I feel, but I can't. I wish I could, and you know.
Yeah.
You don't believe shit.
I don't believe nothing.
I believe everything, but I don't believe this one.
I don't believe jack shit when it comes to anything that teams put out, coaches put out, players put out, or writers put out. I just don't, because I've been in too many times on the other side going, well, that's not accurate.
You learn from your mistakes.
No, I learned from
continue to plow through mistake after mistake after mistake.
I just know this. I've said this forever. It used to be for years and years and years, I was only involved in 7 national stories. And then supposedly I called somebody a meth head. I didn't go swimming with a woman. Now I got 10 national stories that have involved me over the years. And none of them have ever been accurate. Yeah, none of them. So that, and I can even go back deeper to when I was with Coach Knight, and I'd read something, I go, that didn't happen. Yeah. That's not what happened. I mean, you can spin it, but that's not what happened. So I don't believe
But how many of those stories from within Indiana basketball were untrue because Indiana basketball didn't tell the truth?
That's a good question. How many times I would argue that Indiana basketball didn't tell the truth. I would argue that Indiana basketball didn't talk about it. Because that was a big deal.
People are going to find something to say.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we're doing right now about Jonathan Taylor.
Right.
That's exactly what we're doing.
We're guessing at it because we don't have any facts.
I feel like we have an educated guess here because if Steichen is being interesting. All right, I want to throw this by you. I actually made a note. I left it upstairs to ask you this. You like Steichen. You think Steichen's an honest guy. But he's being interesting. It's not just what he's saying about Jonathan Taylor. It's how he's saying it. He has a level, and you can tell me I'm wrong because you're at the press conference. I just watched. He has a level of, I'm not going to say disgust, but I'm not going to say disgust.
Yep.
It's like, it's not trepidation. It's like, don't bother me with this shit. You know, here's what I think. All right, I'm just going to lay it out. I think Steichen is saying, don't bother me with this shit. The guy's being an asshole, and that's part of football. Talking about Jonathan Taylor.
I believe at the beginning, at the onset of this, that was his behavior. Then the last 2 times when he was saying he's coming back and he's going to practice as soon as he's cleared, he said it in a way where I thought that there was hope that he actually believed it. And then the other night, I'm not talking about Jonathan Taylor, don't ask me.
That's what I'm saying.
He was that way the other night.
That's right.
So something went off the road.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like, hey, look, guy's being a dick. He got a contract. We ain't giving him a contract. This is where we're at. I don't know what else to tell you.
I got people to coach. I got an 89 out there. I want to worry about this wing nut.
Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. And it's even more frustrating because you can write an article about the greatness of Richardson. We can talk about Richardson or Josh now. But as a coach, the one thing you want, I got to have my best players on the field.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what you write. I don't give a shit what you say. I don't give a shit who you are. I got to have the backup third string tackle, you get hurt. Oh man, I feel real bad. Hey, okay, let's go.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, I got to have my best dudes.
Yeah.
And he's like, and I can tell this isn't a football related issue. This is just this guy, Taylor's being an ass, and I can't say anything because players run it. And, you know, And I really have felt that way since Jimmy Irsay just actually laughed at Taylor's request to get traded.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Jimmy, I try to like put water on fires. Jimmy's putting gas on fires. Jimmy doesn't give a shit one way or another. Jimmy is a billionaire. There is no consequence that is big enough for him to change who he is. So, okay, and he's going to tell you what he thinks, and he's got to stop that if Taylor's ever going to get back on the field for the Colts.
Like, would you agree with this? For Jonathan Taylor, who by all accounts is a great dude.
Yes, seems like an awesome guy.
Yeah. For him to request a trade was hard on him, I'm sure. I'm sure, you know, he felt vindicated doing it. I'm sure he had a lot of conversations with his agent and everything else. And then Jimmy Irsay just said, "Yeah, we ain't doing that. What's going on?" Yeah,
somebody's given him terrible counsel.
I agree.
There's no way. Like you'd have to be stupid to actually think that the Colts in the position that they're in are going to trade you. Because you can't get value. You're dinged. You've got the ankle. You've got some kind of a back issue. You didn't pass your physical. Who is going to pay value even for a good running back if you're not healthy?
Delvin Cook got a 1-year deal.
All kinds of, where'd he go? 41st, right? 41st overall pick. Colts moved up to take him. And why did 40 teams pass on this guy? Because a lot of the tread on his tires, he left in Madison, Wisconsin. And then he was overused the last 3 years, or at least 2 of those 3 years. What's he got left? He's got $4.3 million this year, and that's no big deal. But he ain't going to want to go someplace without signing an extension. Nobody's going to sign him to an extension. Nobody's going to give the Colts value. It's just ridiculous to even think that there's a remote possibility that you're going to be traded.
Is Jonathan Taylor hurt?
That's a good question. They were kind of specific about the back.
And then he poo-pooed that.
Yeah, he didn't say it's not injured. He said he hadn't had pain. And so that's me parsing words. I don't know whether he cares enough to say, well, I can skirt the injury issue by saying no pain. You know what I mean?
I would, because I want to get traded. I would skirt this.
He's a Harvard guy, right? He's a guy who could have gone to Harvard.
He's Mensa. I mean, we're all Mensa, aren't we all?
Strong go.
But I would be like, I would be, if I'm not hurt, let's put it this way, and I want a contract, and I understand what you just said, which is exactly 1,000% right, I got to be on the football field.
Yeah, right.
I mean, who in the hell is going to trade for, or not even trade for, everybody would trade for Jonathan Taylor if they can give a broken bat and a taped up ball, but who's going to even think about giving Jimmy Irsay or making a deal that Jimmy Irsay is going to accept with Jonathan Taylor not only not practicing, he's out of the facility, he's out of the freaking state, getting rehab. I mean, nobody in their right mind is going to give Jimmy Irsay what Jimmy Irsay or Chris Ballard would want for this guy. So your best bet is to play.
Right. And
So he has to be hurt.
When did $28 million turn into pocket change? Yeah,
Chump change.
I don't get that.
Yeah.
That's what he would make. 4.3 this year, 11 million being franchised next year if he's healthy, and then the next year 13 million. So the most he can make is 28 million. Is this, we've asked it before, give me 1/7 of that, I walk away happy and you never see my ass again.
No, yeah. But then you see, okay, some nondescript defensive tackle for the New York Jets, Quinnen Williams, is on Hard Knocks making $90 million, and you're like, wait a second here, can I get $30 million? You know, yeah. I mean, to me, the idea that, well, I mean, I don't know if anybody would believe, but to me, the idea that players don't look at other guys' contracts, they only look at running backs' contracts is stupid. Running backs are looking and going, why is some lineman getting $90 million, Quentin Nelson?
And let's go another step with the Colts. Is this bollocksing up extension talks with Michael Pittman or Grover Stewart or Kenny Moore? Because if they wind up getting more in an extension than Jonathan Taylor is really going to be butt sore. And so is everybody else kind of stopped in line as all this deal is adjudicated?
The answer is yes.
Right.
I would think, although you can do both. You know, you can chew gum and walk at the same time, so you can give Pittman a bonus, or you give Pittman his extension if that's what you want to do. But I'll be honest with you. Again, I don't know the behind-the-scenes politics of all this, but I'm making these Colts guys play for their contracts, for their extensions. And maybe that pisses them off. Maybe that pisses other people off. Players don't want to come here. It doesn't seem like players want to come here anyway. We've documented Rivers wanted to get the hell out of here. Luck wanted to get the hell out of here. Stephon Gilmore wanted to get the hell out of here. I mean, I don't know.
Hines.
Oh yeah. And then now you got Ryan talking about the place is a mess. I mean, look, you can discard all that and you can say, well, Ryan made it a mess. But
he couldn't play anymore.
Right.
Wherever he went was going to be a mess.
Right. Yeah. See, I agree with you. You can say that, and it's true. But you also got to give a little bit to the equity that Matt Ryan has built in a 14 or whatever year career and being with the organization and knowing how maybe it's not a mess. And maybe he just said that to protect himself. I don't know. But maybe he said that just being truthful.
Where is the mess? That winds up, where do you target, or is it wrong to isolate one area saying that the whole thing's a mess?
I'll tell you where I think the mess is. The mess started with the giving of extensions to guys that weren't up for extensions and giving them big money. And I'm mostly looking at the offensive line.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Braden Smith, Quentin.
Yeah, and Kelly.
Yeah.
I go back to this. Grigson and actually the Colts did not give Andrew Luck an extension until they had to. Now, if you're not giving Andrew Luck an extension, Ryan Kelly, great dude, all that. And I saw your interview with him, fantastic, great stuff. But I'm not giving a lineman. I feel like, and it's just all of us. This isn't just athletes, but you give somebody a pile of money, man. Unless you're a special dude, it takes away some motivation. I mean, linemen, they're out there they're out there getting the crap knocked out. Is there really motivation after you give someone 20? I don't know. I'm sure there is. I'm sure that's insulting to all the great linemen in the world. But come on.
You know what? Nobody talks about money. And I know, like they asked Autry when they signed him, they said, okay, why'd you sign here? What was it about Indy that made you pick here? And he said, they offered me more money. And the Colts went, whoa. We can't say that kind of thing. So he had to go back and give some nonsense reason. Of course it's about money. These guys are business people. They're trying to take care of their families. And there's nothing wrong with that. And when you do make it, if you're about the money, of course it takes some air out of your sails.
And nobody ever admits it. Nobody ever admits it. Oh, you know, I slowed down a little bit once I got 20 million a year. I started thinking about my health and how I'm going to live out. I mean, no one says that, but all you got to do is look at, like, in the history of free agency and, like, baseball, guys are hitting, like, 35 home runs, driving in 150 runs in a contract year, and then they go back to 12 and 8 because they're out partying.
Look at Cody Bellinger.
Right.
Cody Bellinger. Oh, good Lord. That guy's having an MVP season. He's lifted the Cubs on his shoulders. Yeah.
He batted like he was MVP, batted under the Mendoza line, and now, you're right. Now, everybody's mad at the Cubs, or happy, depending on your view, that they didn't trade him to get like a king's ransom, like Ohtani was going to come here. And of course, I'm happy because my birthday was yesterday, and I always use my birthday as the gate because summer's over on my birthday. And it drove me nuts when I was a kid, right? Summer's over.
Right.
My sister was May 31st, summer's starting. My brother was July. Summer's in the middle, and my birthday sucked ass because summer's over. But now that I'm old enough, I always use the summer like, are the Cubs within 5 games?
Yeah.
And they are.
Yeah.
And it's because of Cody Bellinger in a contract year.
Yeah.
That's it.
And he signed the 1-year deal, bet on himself, and off he goes.
And
let's see what he does next year.
That's after he's going to get paid, too.
Yeah.
Now, the special ones, you know, we're not, you know, LeBron's always going to play. Ohtani, I'm sure, is going to play. Isaiah, Magic, those guys. But the normal guy.
They got a different game working.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, LeBron's working toward a B.
Yeah.
Not an M.
Right.
You know, so that, and he always has been that guy. So,
Right. For
but
those of
you're
you
right.
that don't know, that's $1 billion,
Yeah.
not millions. Go ahead.
Money is a deal, and for those who are playing to get their second contract, when they get it, you gotta make them want something else. You've got to.
Well, LeBron's also playing. He's playing for legacy. He's trying to beat the number 6.
Right.
Tiger wasn't ever playing
those
for
guys.
money.
Those guys are deranged. You
Yeah.
know that. Jordan
Yeah.
completely
Deranged.
out of his mind.
Nuts.
Would you rather be nuts or would you rather be rich? I don't know.
How about nuts and rich?
Yeah, I guess that's the way it works.
But it's true. So I'll go back to Jonathan Taylor, and
Yeah.
I'm going to give him credit for this. I don't think Jonathan Taylor's a guy that money would change. I have a lot of respect for him. I'm losing respect for him, but I feel like Taylor is a guy that wouldn't be affected by a new big contract. He would be happy, and it seems like to me he would be the kind of guy that goes out and gives you even more.
But not a lineman necessarily, because linemen are built different. They're trying to block and keep people from hitting
It's
those guys.
too selfless.
Right. Running backs, they're running for their lives. They don't want to get clocked.
Right.
And so they're trying to save their own ass at the same time that they succeed for the bag that they get, like the kids say. Got to get your bag.
All right, I'm lined up against you. Let's role play.
Okay.
All right, I'm lined up against you. I'm Quentin Nelson, and you're Aaron Donald, and we're both paid.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
And do you think that there's like a play or two in there where you go, hey, let's go easy here?
There's definitely that.
Right.
That definitely
Right.
happens. And you know it happens
Right.
because you used to work with a guy, and I did too. The Big Joe.
Big Joe, yeah.
Where, it's not every play
Right.
you're trying to kill the guy and he's trying to kill
Right.
you. Sometimes you're dancing.
That's what I said. I'm
Absolutely.
like, well, the film doesn't lie. Well, okay. What's big meathead a defensive line coach going to say to Aaron Donald? Oh, you took this play off. I didn't.
Right.
What? I hit him across the head. I don't know.
Well, we know from watching the 85 Bears and he even played a season here, Richard Dent. John Madden always said, when he goes, you can't block him. Well, it wasn't every play you couldn't block him.
Right.
There were plays where Richard was saving himself for the plays that mattered.
Right.
Absolutely, that happens.
Yeah, 3rd and 8 in the 4th quarter, and you know the guy's dropping back to pass. You ain't blocking Richard Dent.
Right.
You ain't blocking Aaron Donald, and Aaron Donald isn't saying to Quentin Nelson, hey, take it easy here. But in the 2nd quarter on a run play that's going the opposite way, hey, look, I'm going to square my shoulders here. You just don't run through me.
And maybe you allow yourself to be blocked every once in a while. Like we always hear those stories about Roberto Clemente. Bottom of the 3rd, Clemente's up, nobody's on, 2 outs, it's 1 and 2. He gets a shitty looking curveball and he kind of waves at it and looks sick because in a high leverage situation in the bottom of the 8th, he knows he's going to get that same pitch and he's going to kill it.
He's going to kill it to right field.
So that happens too.
No, I agree. There's a lot that goes on. But
I have a hard time believing that, though, about Roberto Clemente or anybody else.
Well, I
That
remember
you're setting up future at bats. That just sounds too astute.
That sounds very astute. It's like, what did Greg Maddux say that he could always get? I forget. Maybe it was McGuire or somebody. I don't know. To hit a monster home run foul. He goes, I can always get him to hit a just crushing, like everybody stands and goes, but I know every time it's going to be foul because of where I put the ball, and he's going to turn on it. It's going to go, and then I just go a little away, and he's swinging,
The professor.
Yeah. But anyway, I maybe this is an odd conversation we've had for 23 minutes because on one hand it sounds like we don't respect Jonathan Taylor and what he's doing, which I don't. On the other hand, I have total respect for Jonathan Taylor if he does get paid. I believe this. All right, bottom line, I think if Jonathan Taylor gets paid, I think he'll be the best running back in the league. I think he'll be a happy dude that's going to give everything if he gets blocking.
And he's going to be in an offensive system where there's space everywhere. They're going to run like zone cutback plays that they block correctly. Rick Venturi was drawn. He was showing me exactly how they did. I love Rick when he's drawing stuff. It was excellent. But they're blocking it right, and they're going to put Jonathan Taylor in a position where he is getting ready to make the big bag because of what this offense can be. What do you take away? You have maybe the most dynamic running back in the game, if he's healthy. You have a crazy dynamic athletic quarterback. You've got Josh Downs, who I think is going to wind up being good. You got some guys who can catch a football. You got an offensive line Who with Sperano, I don't know whether you overplay this or not, whether, you think, all right, they've got a new O-line coach and all of a sudden they're going to be resurrected.
Right.
I don't know. We're going to find out. But if it is that, like, that's a lot of money he's leaving on the table, plus a 4.3.
Guy asked a question on here, and it's an interesting question. I can't answer it. I will set it up, though. A year ago, I said, after watching and being there, that the Detroit Lions are every bit as good as the Colts. If the Colts are supposed to be good, the Detroit Lions are good. If the Colts suck, then the Detroit Lions. Now, the whole thing turned out to be true, except that the Colts ended up getting Saturday, and it became a mess. So the question to you was, and maybe this does matter, media folks said that the Bears dominated the Colts in these deals. Is that true in your mind?
In some areas. I thought the Colts defense played really well yesterday. I think that the Bears have defensive backs that could really help the Colts. Like the back end of the Colts defense is not good.
Have we heard from Nick
Grover
Cross?
Stewart looks great. He had a tipped pass yesterday that EJ Speed came down with for a pick, which, okay, it's a practice interception, but he looks all right. And Julian Blackmon's back on the field. Yeah, Grover Stewart looks really, really good.
That's
Grover
important.
Stewart is doing it the right way. This is the last year of his contract. He's going to put up huge numbers. He will play better this year than he's ever played. He is going to be really, really good.
Were you impressed at all with the Bears?
No.
Reason I ask is I think their numbers stupid. I'm gonna look it
I'll
up.
tell you this, though. Their wide receivers are pretty damn
They're good.
DJ Moore's
We
good.
like Claypool.
Claypool's going to be good. He didn't do anything. He was in street clothes or sweats. I didn't see him do anything yesterday. I assumed that he was still in sweats. But Wednesday, he was just walking around chirping.
Oh,
like
yeah.
not playing,
yeah.
but driving me nuts.
Kid Sterling does not want to hear your chirping.
No.
If you are not on the field. I'm going to go with an over-under here. You ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to find this out. Futures. Over-under wins. And I'm going to use the Bears because, well, frankly, I want to, where is this? Playoffs, first chance. I mean, can I just get season wins? I mean, is it that hard? There you go, wins. All right. What would you make the Bears, the Chicago Bears, if you were making it, the Chicago Bears over-under wins?
5.5.
Interesting. It's 7.5.
Yeah, I'd take the under.
Yeah. And the Colts are still at 6.5.
You have Bears fans who refuse to believe the obvious, and that's that the Bears aren't built to win. They're trying to underspend. That's why they hired Matt Eberflus. They did go out and get DJ Moore, but that's just, to me, that's like, chum in the water for the fans. Hey, here's some hope. We got a better receiver, so.
No, you don't want, do the Bears, all right, let me go this route. Bears defense, monsters of the midway, harumph, harumph. How did our offensive line, our being the Colts, hang on against the Bears?
I thought they were okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Fries came out, and Arlington Hambright, I think that's his name, right?
Yeah.
He played right guard, and he was okay. Smith looked good. Nelson looked good. Pitter was fine at center. I didn't think he was overmatched. I think Ryman looks really good.
You like
him.
Ryman? You like Ryman?
Yeah.
That'd be if Ryman is good, and let me make sure, if Alec Pierce plays well, I saw he made a couple plays.
Yeah.
Then you can start going back to Ballard has had a little bit of success in the draft. Now, obviously, the biggest deal is Richardson. But I don't think we're going to know that for a year or two. I think I tell you what, I'll bet you this happens. Colts are going to beat the Jaguars, and everybody, we're going to lose our mind on Richardson and the whole team, and then we're going to settle into who they are, and who they are remains to be seen. But I think I'm going to take the Colts the points and take against the Jaguars.
I am too. I believe they're going to win.
We're in freaking August. We're past my birthday.
The Colts
That's true.
believe.
That's true.
They're going to believe in that opener. I think they're going to win.
That'd be rare. They don't do much.
Not since 13.
No. Against Terrell Pryor in Oakland.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Mike Woodson got himself another $1 million. Not a bonus, $1 million added onto his contract. He is now, ladies and
hand
gentlemen.
out money like just, you get $1 million. They're like, Dolson's like Oprah. The extension for Allen, more money for Woodson. Where's Woodson going to go?
That's
Why are
right.
you giving him another $1 million? Why?
I'm guarantee you, Mike Woodson can hold over Dolson's head that he could be an assistant in the NBA.
Go! You know what? I would be either a terrible AD and a terrible GM or great at it, because I would tell people, well, okay, you know, I could do this. All right. Well, have fun. We'll move on. You get a guy to coach Indiana.
That's what
You
I'm
out of your
saying.
mind?
You know what? And I read the comments when it was on Twitter today. It's like, well, for what?
Right.
Came in third.
He's won one
Yeah.
NCAA tournament game.
And that was
right?
a
I'm
play-in.
not counting the play-in.
Oh, okay.
Last year they won the
Yeah.
opening round, right?
Yeah,
And
they
they lost
beat-
to Miami in the
Yeah, they
32.
quit. They flat quit. That wasn't just me talking. That was the fanboy media's talking as well. I saw that today, and I thought of you. I'm like, I'm so glad we're doing this show. You come in ninth. You inherit an All-American. You come in ninth. You come in third. But the big deal at Indiana is he's taken us to back-to-back NCAA tournaments. First time in a decade or something. I'm like, wow. All right.
Where you set the bar is where the bar is at.
Oh, that is. Now you're talking, brother, man. Oh, you set it low, people will meet it.
Yeah.
You set it high, people
We
will
get
meet
what
it.
we will tolerate,
Oh.
and we get what we reward.
Now, I'm kind of like this on Indiana basketball. This is one of the few times I have no idea.
Yeah,
All I
right.
hear is this Ware kid he's the greatest prospect, and then I hear he's a big pussy coming out of USC, didn't really want to play or practice, or
Oregon.
Oregon couldn't handle success, and then the kid from Ball State's going to be the next big thing. Okay, well, he's at Ball State and he played okay.
Man, do we do that
Oh.
better than any fan base in the history of the world?
Kentucky fans are like, yeah, we got Ennis Cantor. He better show us he's good. Like, well, he's the greatest foreign player this few years ago. Well, we just got a big Serbian. Yeah, I know Jokic is good, but not all Serbian. I was reading some stuff on Kentucky. Yeah, well, not all Serbians are good. And they had a list of all the Serbians that aren't any good. Probably had me in there at some point. I'm like, damn, Indiana fans, we got Jakari Wheeler. Fuck's Jakari Wheeler. He's great. He's the
Magnus
next Isaiah.
Pelkowski, my God.
Greatest one-on-nobody player in the history of basketball.
To the point where how many people bought the Ivan Renko thing, and it didn't even exist, and
I made
people
him
thought he
up.
was going to lead us to a Big Ten title.
I made him up.
you really?
Yeah, I made him up on a plane flight. Knight and I wanted to catch a guy that was coming in our office and leaking our recruits. So I made a fake one up, put it. I did it with Knight. I was sitting there and I go, Coach, here's the rundown. I got a questionnaire out. I knew some parts in Serbia, blah, 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 blah. And Ivan Renko, the name Ivan Renko came when I would go to my cousin's house. The best Little League pitcher was a guy named Renko Ivetic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I just turned it around. That kid went to Maryville. So I just turned it around and called him Ivan Renko. And sure enough, the guy, came. I'm not going to say his name. He's older now, but he kept blabbing our recruits, and we wanted to catch him. So he started telling people about his recruit, Ivan Renko.
Jeez.
So Knight couldn't resist, so he said it on TV. But yeah, I think Ivan made the wall. I think there's certain things people send me, and I put them on our wall, and I put Ivan Renko. Yeah, coming back from Minnesota. We'd won the game. I was bored. Knight and I have been talking. I go, Coach, I'm going to make up a fake recruiting folder, and I'm going to leave it on my desk next time so-and-so comes in. So he goes, show me what you're doing. So I wrote fake letters to him. We had a questionnaire that came back from him. The next day, I had my wife it was a Serbian lady. I had her kind of write on a white, notebook paper, a letter expressing interest in Indiana.
Really?
It was. I wish I had the file. I think Knight took the file. It was glorious. We put it in. I put it right on my desk because I knew the guy was coming in, and I left for about 20 minutes. I put it right at the end of my desk, and it said Ivan Renko prospect, whatever year it was. And
That's awesome.
It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
So the guy eventually figured out he'd been played?
Oh, yeah, he was pissed.
Well, don't pick around on some guy's desk. What, are you out of your mind?
That's what I'm
He's
saying.
mad.
Yeah, look,
What
that's
was he mad
bullshit.
for?
I've always helped you guys. Yeah, you did. You're great. You're right. But we knew. We knew you were the guy. Because
Jeez.
Knight was, you got to understand, like now, recruiting stuff is like, like you leak it to guys, right? Because you want, but back then, Knight, we wanted nobody knowing who we were recruit. Nobody.
Right.
Like if I went to a high school game, I didn't even tell anybody who I was. Hey, you here to watch somebody? I don't know. I go, nah, I think it's a good game. I hear he's a pretty good player. Maybe that kind of. But we were never ever to say, hey, unless you go see Alan Henderson and you want to talk to everybody to find out where you're at. But
right.
When you're evaluating Yugoslavians, you just kind of that's.
Jeez.
Yeah.
How can you be mad?
Yeah, he's mad. He's mad.
That's like if I leave a $20 bill on my kitchen counter and somebody comes over to the house and I think that person had taken something else and the 20's gone after the person comes over and then that guy gets pissed at me for leaving the 20 on the counter? What?
You watch Seinfeld?
Yeah.
So when they're casting Kramer, the guy comes in, he steals the raisins.
Yeah.
And then he gets pissed.
That's so funny.
Right? He's pissed that you're accusing him of stealing the raisins. And he stole the raisins.
If you took him, you took him.
Yeah. I just want to know. That's what.
Oh my God.
But no, that's the story of Renko. All right, I got another thing for you. So you go from 5 to 9 with the Colts.
Yeah.
All right. So you read reports on teams, and
which is weak. I understand.
Yeah,
I'm playing both ends of the over/under. I get it.
Yeah, I'm going to call you names as we do the show right before this opener. I'll give you right now. You don't know who's going to get hurt.
All right.
You don't know, so I'll give you a little leeway. But who wins the division?
Oh, Tennessee, I think, wins the division. I think. I think that I don't buy their swale last year. I think they bounced back, and I don't buy the Jaguars' uptick. I think they recede.
Now, one of the things with the Jaguars that does make them interesting is I do think that Trevor Lawrence is a legitimate NFL guy. I'm not going to say he's Mahomes or Josh Allen yet, but I think he's on that kind of not potential. He can get there. So I guess that is potential. I think he can get to that level of those guys. I think he's the one guy in the league. Now, I don't know about Richardson. I don't know, and I don't know about C.J. Stroud. But I do think in all the league, you take all the league.
Yeah.
And you say, okay, we're hoping Baker Mayfield does it in Tampa. Well, he's not doing it in Tampa.
Right. He's not doing it anywhere. He hasn't done it yet.
No. And Justin Herbert's probably a little bit above where Lawrence is. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Right.
He's not the reason that the Chargers aren't winning lots of games. He's really good.
Yeah, right. So I don't think Lawrence is to Herbert, and I don't think Herbert is to Mahomes and those guys.
Yeah.
But I think he's the guy that can push it up like that. Does that make sense?
It does. It's the way Jaguars fans are looking at it, and I think that he settles into, like you said, being about the 7th best quarterback in the AFC.
Yeah.
And that's going to be his level. And people for another couple of years are going to say, well, he's ready to pop.
Yeah.
Here he comes. He's going to be this guy. And it's just never going to happen.
You don't think it ever happens?
I don't think so. He's not special. Mahomes is special. Allen's special. I think Herbert, to an extent, special. I think Richardson has a chance to be special.
Here's where I thought, and this is what I think of when I think of Trevor Lawrence. He ran for 66 yards. I think he was against Ohio State, and he outran everybody, which is as fast a team as there is. And then he throws it and he shoots. I think that he's going to end up in a special category. Like, why did Josh Allen end up special? Like, why? He couldn't throw it in college. He could throw it, but he wasn't accurate. Why did he end up special? Why did a guy that everybody in the league passed on, Aaron Rodgers, end up special? Why did Mahomes, who to this day, the dumbest trade in the history of football is Trubisky for a first, second, third, and then a conditional second the next year to move up one spot to take Trubisky when Mahomes and Watson are there. Like, why did they end up special? Because they had special ability, and I think that Lawrence has that. I
think they passed on guys because they thought that their personality didn't fit, the character didn't project. But the NFL is a league of talent. You've got to have talent. Talent wins. Josh Allen has talent.
That's what I think. That's what. Okay,
And you
so
think that about-
you just described that. What I'm thinking of Lawrence. I think Lawrence can throw any pass you want. He's big and strong. He run like hell. Which I do think. If you're not Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, Peyton's out now. You better be able to move in modern NFL.
Yeah.
I think Tom Brady, and I'll go with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers might be the last of the guys that can just drop back and sling it. Is Herbert that? Can Herbert move?
Yeah, he moves, but not as much.
Yeah.
He's not like Hurts.
Yeah.
You know, he might run it 60 times. Hurts ran it like 170.
To that point, I don't care what the numbers say about how many times Patrick Mahomes rushes. He's a running quarterback. Right? He is not a stationary. He is a running, he throws it at the end of the run.
Right.
But he is not a sling it, stand back, Aaron Rodgers,
not a pocket
shifty
guy.
Around the pocket
Yeah,
guy.
no.
He's dynamic around the pocket.
And he can run this way, throw it that way. He can run this way, throw it that way. And there aren't guys who can do that.
No.
So that's a special gift.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. So and that's why I'm interested in Anthony Richardson. That's why I wanted Anthony Richardson. If you were going to say to me, we're going to take Levis or Stroud or Anthony Richardson, I don't know. Some people have told me that Stroud is the most ready. Fine. But I watched Stroud. I don't know. He was fine. But you give me Richardson because, well, frankly, that's the way the NFL is moving. It already has moved there.
And you could see it at camp. Last night, I can't even believe. I was asking Rick. I was like, why the hell did it take so long to figure this shit out? Like, this guy is dynamic. I mean, what are we doing with Matt Ryan? Matt Ryan can't throw it. He can't run it. He can't move inside the pocket. Who the hell thought that was a good idea? Look at this guy. This guy's shifty in the pocket. He's smooth in the pocket. He plants. He can throw it this way, that way, drop it on a dime. The deep balls, he is really accurate. Intermediate, not so much. But I think that'll get there. And when he moves, he puts his foot in the dirt and boom, off he goes.
Who's the backup?
Minshew.
Where is former starting quarterback Sam Ehlinger?
Sam is not getting a lot of reps. He's got a good seat. And they're
emergency
paying him.
Third quarterback?
Yeah.
That's good emergency
but,
third quarterback.
You know what? When Ehlinger and Minshew have practiced, you look at them and you can't really tell the difference. But you can tell the difference with Richardson. I mean, there's when people were who's going to start?
Right. I was just going to ask you. So, no question, right?
Oh, God, no.
And I like Richardson said, I was shocked.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, you know this. Like when you have a dream, you want to ascend to a thing, and you play that scene over and over in your head, and then it becomes reality.
Yeah, that's shocking.
Yeah, it is.
Ashton Doolin, not a big deal.
Special teams, it's a big deal. I don't think he's a receiver.
Nice guy.
He is.
I liked Ashton Doolin a lot.
And Strawn did something to his leg. They taped up like where his groin is, but maybe it was a hamstring on it, and then he took it off. So I don't know what that means.
Can we get an update on the tight end room?
Sheesh, they're all infirmed except Granson and Pharaoh Brown.
You like Granson?
Pharaoh Brown's got to go.
He got to go.
Yeah, he didn't do anything well.
Got a cool name.
He does. No. Pharaoh. That'd be worth keeping.
Do you like
Granson? He's got some attitude. He's kind of like a less crazy Eric Ebron, but not as athletic.
I remember Eric Ebron seeing him going, Jesus.
Yeah.
And
then you would talk to him, and one day he's like beaming and really, really happy, and he's just great. And then the next day, you thought he was going to take your head off. You never knew who you were going to get.
I blame the meds. I blame Big Pharma. Don't you? I don't know. Hey, why is he crazy today? Meds, bad meds. But you got to get something out of Granson. You drafted the guy early enough, third or fourth round, that you got to get something out of him if you're going to keep him on a team. Jelani Woods, I thought, was underused last year. I thought Jelani Woods...
He's hurt. We haven't seen him.
Ogletree hurt?
Ogletree's hurt, but man, he looked pretty good.
Did he?
He's kind of a lumbering guy, but these guys, I mean, when you're 6'5", 260, you're going to lumber a little bit. But he looked really good until he got hurt, and I don't even know what's hurt about him. And then Mo Ali Cox is still on the sidelines watching.
He hadn't even practiced.
I don't know whether it's a foot or whatever it is, but people have stopped asking. So
you just get like, okay, Mo's out.
Yeah. Mo's done.
Mo's not here.
Mo's not here. No Mo.
Do you? All right, I'm going to shift way over.
Yeah.
I got Purdue fans. I go over here, I go play golf at Old Oak, and I swear to God, everybody there is a Purdue fan. They're like, damn. Guy asked me an interesting question. Was it worth Purdue? Could they have gotten anything out of it going overseas and playing without Zach Edey? Because Ren Kaufman, whatever his name is, had big numbers. And I'm like, you know what? No. Because they're going to play completely different. Now, some guys got some practice time, but by the time you go home and you're in a pool somewhere or you're dicking around, you forget about the whole trip. I took a team on a trip and we're like, yeah, it's great. Okay, yeah, this is where the season starts. No. If you're not playing with Zach Edey at Purdue, what are you really doing?
It's a pretty good thing for recruiting, though, right? We're going to go every 4 years. We're going to Austria. We're going to a fun thing.
Great thing for everything.
Yeah.
But they were more asking me, guy asked me about playing, and I said, I don't know. And then
it doesn't make any difference.
Not really. And people act like it does, but it's a great I took a team to Chile, and I made kids practice on or do reports on Chile. They had to learn about it and they had to give a report on it.
Really?
Yeah. That was interesting. But no, Purdue fans, no. Ren Kaufman will average 5. It'll be an improvement. Then he'll be a good player his junior, senior year.
How about this, though? For a team that gets off to a bad start historically, to be able to go out, play a little bit, kind of get the rust off in August.
What's their bad starts?
No, not Purdue.
Purdue's
exactly the opposite.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So they get nothing out of it.
They need a trip in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
Get away from everything. Okay. Yeah. You play a little bit. Yeah. I mean.
So.
No, I get that. But man, so many people are like. So the other day, I'm talking to Richie Mountain. I really like talking to Richie, and we're talking about Purdue. He goes, man, and this is the first thing he said, and it caught me by surprise. He said, "There's no way they're going to fire Matt Painter," and it was, and he's right. Yeah, there's no way. But it was interesting to me that was like the first thing.
Yeah.
Like that's on Purdue, and Richie and Matt are friends. They came in together to Purdue together, but it was like the first thing that came out of his mouth because that's on the mind of Purdue fans. You lose these NCAA games.
It's not on the mind of Mike Babinski because you're not going to create your own problems, and that's creating a problem.
Right.
Like, the first thing as a manager, do no harm. You don't go around whacking guys who are winning Big Ten titles every other year.
Right.
That's crazy.
Right. And I did say, well, it probably shouldn't lose to another small New Jersey school in the first round of the tournament. I mean, I'm no genius on this stuff, but it seems like that should probably be in order. But it was a bigger picture of it. Like, Indiana, we're giving $1 million not bonuses, and additions to the contract to Mike Woodson for coming in 9th and 3rd and getting blown out by Miami and quitting when he was handed an All-American. And Purdue fans, they want their guy out, even though you said he's winning Big Ten titles every other year, and he gets beat by, St. Peter's and North Texas and what was it, FDU.
Yeah.
It's just, the world has shifted, and I haven't shifted with it. The expectations at Purdue are way higher than the expectations in Indiana, and I'm not comfortable with this.
Well, they've got to understand who they are.
That's what I'm saying.
Come on. It's West Lafayette. I go back to a guy who coached as an assistant Purdue football, takes his wife to West Lafayette the first time, and the wife says, "Where in the hell have you taken me? Look, I'll follow your ass almost everywhere, but here?" That's Purdue. Let's be honest about West Lafayette. Every time a storm rolls through Indiana, it zeroes in on West Lafayette. It must get more rain by like 28 inches than any other place in Indiana. Tippecanoe County should be underwater.
Do you think I was wrong? I need your expert advice. I saw Gene K. I like Gene K. We got a great relationship, but I got to be consistent in my criticisms of the world. Gene Cady, Frank Kendrick, they went on probation. They went on probation because of a lot of shit that they were doing that Purdue fans think was just about giving a stranded kid a ride. And it was so much more than that. Okay, so I mentioned, hey, look, I liked Coach Cady. 1980, him, a guy named Jay Williams and Clarence Glover come into my house. I was maybe the first recruit that he recruited. It was me. Then he went to go see Bullock. Then he went to go see the Hardens. Then he went to go see Ronaldo Thomas. Then he went to go see Dan Palmbizio. So he had like 8 guys in Northwest Indiana, and I think I just happened to be the first for whenever the scheduling came out. And we loved him. We're like, great. So I've always liked him. I've told you stories of being on the court with Katie and him winking at me and all that kind of shit. Yeah. He goes in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, well, you know what? I lost respect for him when he was cheating. Because I lost respect for Huggins when he was cheating. I lost respect for everybody when they're cheating. And people are ripping me, right? You're an insensitive cocksucker. Blah, blah. I'm like, no, I don't like people that cheat. I like him, though. I do. But shouldn't have brought that up. Should have let it go.
Well, if you're going to have a big dinner for college basketball head coaches and you're going to exclude people who cheated, you're going to be sitting by yourself.
All right. Not if you were going to have a big dinner for people that did not go on probation.
Right.
Going on probation is kind of a big
right.
deal. You got to go through a whole process, and next thing you know, the headline: Purdue on probation. Kendrick was working at the student union.
Yeah.
He went from their number one recruit to being like a sous chef and slinging hash or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember the day Indiana on probation. I was working for you, and I just went off the whole day at the radio show. I just went off because it just hurt me to see that Indiana on probation. Probation is different than Tom Crean going to Gary Harris's school a day late or some shit like that.
Right.
It's way different.
Right. Absolutely.
That, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I couldn't resist. Maybe I was crabby. I don't know.
Well, it was the meds.
It's always the meds. I always tell people, you put me on a little Oxycontin.
No.
Oh, you put me on that, I'm Mr. Happy. I would take that. I know this is bad. I'm not trying to influence. But for me personally, I become a better person. I'm a way better golfer. Not even close. You give me 2 oxycodones, and I am. Lee, the other day, I had to take one, and she's like, "Why are you such a good mood?" Like, oxy.
Wow.
I played golf, shot 78 yesterday. Yeah. I know it. That's not right because it's a dangerous. Don't do it. It's a terrible drug. I am just telling you.
Because what
Hydrocodone.
happens is people do the Oxycontin.
Hydrocodone.
Okay.
Oxycontin's terrible.
And then they can't get the prescription anymore, so they start buying heroin.
Yeah.
And then they die.
Yeah.
Well, this is not.
We should erase the last.
Not a road.
We should.
We want to direct people down.
No, I'm saying don't do it. I'm saying for me. I've always said for me at this age, I'll take anything. Like, hey, I always said, if you're driving down the street and you're a drug rep, you got roids, you got some samples, step them in here. I want to take them. I'm tired of being sore. I'm tired of my back hurt. I'm tired of my freaking knee but I'll tell you this, QC Kinetics has saved that. The knee feels good. The left knee is unbelievable.
You're a fan of science.
Yes. But I do know that addiction comes quickly. A friend of mine told me he pulled over a lady. I think I told you this. He's a cop. Pulled over a lady that admitted to taking 52 hydrocodones in one day. Because the tolerance, you take 2, it gets to be 4, it gets to be 8, it gets to 10. And then you're stealing out of garbage cans.
Yeah, you're just chasing it.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. But for me personally, better person, nicer guy, better golfer.
Well, who can argue? Everyone.
You didn't do Oxycontin, do it? No, it wasn't Oxycontin. It was hydrocodone. Oxycodone, hydrocodone.
As long as it's not Oxycontin, that's
They were old pills too. They were from my hip. So if I had a problem, I'd have taken them all when I had my hip. But I happened to see them in the dresser.
How long ago was that, the hip thing?
2 or 3 years.
Oh, well, they've been on the shelf that long.
You came over.
Yeah. Brought the pizza. Right.
Basbo's.
Yeah,
I think it was.
Basbo's. It was delicious.
It was really good. I went into Basbo's, last thing. So you got pizza from Basbo's.
Yeah.
You got it over by Fort Bend, I think.
Yep.
So I go over to Basbo's at Fort Bend, and I'm like, it's like a month later. And it was really good pizza. And I'm like, I'm going to bed. Lee and I, it's like Friday night, we're going to have pizza. I go over there, I order it, and I go to pick it up. The 2 girls at the counter are screaming at each other. The dudes in the back are mf-ing each other. The whole place is in chaos. The sound could break granite. Like, it was like, geez, this is chaos. And the pizza was really good. Karen was
okay.
arguing. The pizza was good.
Get the pizza, run to the car, get the hell out of there, and let's go.
I did look for spit or something. Are these people out of their mind? Like, you never know. If they're screaming and yelling, who knows what
they'll
they're
do
doing?
anything.
They'll do anything.
Yeah.
Screaming. Like, I don't even know about, but it was loud, and I was like, oh, man.
I'm very careful where I go anymore. Like, I've got to know where I'm going and who's going to be. Like, I trust the people at Wolfie's. I trust the people at
I trust them at Eddie's, yeah.
Eddie's. I like going up there.
I like La Hacienda over here.
I got to go there one of these days.
I'm telling you. La Hacienda number 12 is the number over
Is
here.
that the
yeah.
is it?
It is if you said to me, okay, you're dying, you're on death row. Your last meal has to be something from, like what you said, a restaurant that you're going to. I'm going to get the seafood quesadilla from La Hacienda, and I'm calling it a life. Bring in the priest.
When I go to La Hacienda or a place called Abuela's, have you been to Abuela's?
Oh, yeah.
It's a Mexican place.
Yeah.
And the margaritas are there.
Yeah.
Like people invite us, Julie and I, and we go, and they think it's going to be some kind of sedate dinner. And it's like, come on, let's go. Need another one of these, thank you. And I get loud and I get obnoxious and I'm talking to people at other tables and the server, and it's just a mess.
Yeah, it's great. See,
but I enjoy
I
it.
need to go with you.
Let's go.
Because Lee and I have never sat at the actual restaurant. We sit at the bar. It's a great bar.
Yeah.
It's an unbelievable bar. Big, spacious, lit up, big TVs here, big TVs over there. They give you all the chips you want. It's a Mexican restaurant, for crying out loud. You walk in hungry, you walk out ready to puke, and then an hour later you crap it all out and you're ready to do it again. Well, we cover it, don't we?
There it is.
We covered Otter Creek.
All right, tomorrow, 7 o'clock, Bears. When you see the Bears, like when I went to Bears camp, Colts camp, and the Bears were there, I saw the jerseys, I saw the helmets. I thought about going to Lake Forest and seeing them work out when I was a kid. Like it took me back sort of home to Chicago, even though this is home. Do you feel that way when you see the...
100%.
Yeah.
I used to get so excited, and I kind of still do. I used to get so excited when the Bears were like on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, right.
You know, before Sunday night and Thursday night and everything else. And I still do. Like, and then I realized, oh yeah, I'm not that interested in them anymore. But the Bears would ruin my week.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And they did it a lot when they would lose. Like the Cubs would ruin my day because I knew there was another game next tomorrow. But the Bears would ruin a freaking week. Yeah, I do. It's familiar. It's very familiar. It's very happy.
I went out with a girl for a minute when I was a sophomore in college at Indiana. And in Briscoe, like I had a black and white TV. She had a color TV. So I was like, hey, can I come down for Monday Night Football? Bears were playing the Lions. Eric Hipple. And I became agitated during the game to the extent that she was afraid of me. And that was our last. I don't think I saw her again. I know I didn't see her dating again, that it was over.
Because of your anger?
Because I'm so
because of the Bears?
Pissed. Yeah.
So what have we discussed here today? We've discussed football, certainly. We've discussed Indiana-Purdue basketball, but we've also discussed my love of OxyContin and his spousal abuse.
I didn't hit her. I hit the wall. I ran into the hallway.
His rage, his unbridled rage.
She must not have meant that much to me.
Oh, God.
That's what I thought. And I was like, there are plenty of those.
Did you call her? Did you try to get back?
She lived on the floor beneath us.
Did you go see her and apologize?
Like, hey, it's the Bears. And I tried to explain it like that, and she had no understanding whatsoever of what I was trying to talk about.
Hey, last thing, I haven't talked to you. I went to a wedding and danced.
Did you?
Yeah. Billy Parks' daughter. Great wedding at Medina Country Club. I danced. I had about 3 Manhattans.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 Manhattans and a beer. And I'm like, Lee, let's go.
What kind of band?
Kind of a cover band, but kind of a soul. Played.
Really?
Yeah. Played. There was some Commodores. They did. I asked them if they could play Confunction, Shake and Dance with Me, which is an anthem to me, but nobody knows what that is. I was Swami. I'd dance to that.
Nice.
And I kept it in title. I always go here. My wife's like,
Oh,
why?
with the teeth.
It always goes. As soon as I get on down, she's like, you're doing it again. I go, oh, man. Hey, people are accusing you of giving that woman PTSD every time she sees an
Tell you
NFL game.
what, she lives up in Marion, Indiana. She went to optometry school. I think she came out of it okay.
All right.
But yeah, my behavior was.
You know, you can
beyond the
learn
pale.
who to date and who not to date.
Oh yeah,
You can learn.
and she did that night. She figured it out quick. Good for her.
That's a good hour.
We'll be back next week.
Thanks, guys. Subscribe and like. It's the polite thing to do.